everybody. The Biters girls are back. Again. And I will be honest, some of it is chaos, some of it is complete and utter lack of enthusiasm for the last 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. Sorry, Thomas O'Mara and Jenna Elfman. Ugh.
Yeah, it was kind of a slog, which is why we are going to be podcasting the final 2 episodes of season 6 together. So this is episode 15, USS Pennsylvania, and episode 16, The Beginning, which was the end.
We're right. But it said very specifically at the end of The Beginning, this isn't the end.
No, it's the beginning of the TV show The 100, because Alicia survives.
We don't know that for sure. We didn't see her. All right. What was your rating? And I did a combined rating for the 2. I don't know how you did yours. We probably should have talked about that.
I also did a combined rating,
okay,
so
good.
Great minds think alike.
I'm not sure there are many people who are going to say that there are great minds behind this podcast by the time they're done listening. I'm just saying.
So I gave it 2.85 mushroom clouds, and the only reason why it ticked up from 2.5 to 2.85 is I was okay with the last episode. I know that you didn't like it, and we will get into it, but what was your rating?
Okay, honest to God, I'm actually a little shocked that my rating was a little bit higher than yours, and maybe I should have rated it lower. I said it was a combined 3 crispy Dakota corpses out of 5.
I seriously have less than 2 pages written down about 2 episodes.
Dude,
so.
I loved and hated that image of her crispy, like, glowing from the inside corpse.
What did you hate about it?
I thought it was really hokey, but I really loved it all at the same time. It was awful and terrible and wonderful, and it was Dakota finally dead. Yay. Sorry, Zoe Colletti. We love the Colletti kids, but here we are.
I for some reason it brought me back, and maybe it's because Nick Stahl was in Terminator 3. Terminator 3. But it brought me back to some scenes in Terminator where, Skynet becomes self-aware and, like, nukes the world, and they do show that nuclear blast that, like, crispies everybody. So I liked it.
You're actually making me think that I probably didn't watch Terminator 3. I was like, did I watch I must have watched. No, I guess I didn't.
Terminator 3 was the one with the chick Terminator.
Yeah, totally didn't watch it.
Oh, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, probably not going to make the list.
Yeah.
Considering how completely, utterly, insanely exhausted I still am after not working for 2 weeks, probably not going to make the list.
Yeah. I have no excuse to be exhausted other than it's like reappropriations and my work is already crazy and we might get laid off, which I think might actually happen, even though I've been saying it probably won't. I kind of think it will, and I'm kind of okay with it. I speak from a position of privilege, so I can be okay with it, and I know it will totally screw other people, which is one of the reasons why I hope it doesn't happen, but I am totally okay with getting a couple of days off for free. Okay, and when I say free, I'm not going to get paid, but I'm also not going to get, like, reprimanded for taking days off.
We have to give a little bit of background. Alaskans are crazy. You all have probably figured this out by now if you've stuck with us this long. Alaskans get a thing called a permanent fund dividend, which is
oil money.
And it's so difficult. So there are a lot of people who feel incredibly entitled to that little slice of oil money. There are some of us who are like, it's really nice, we don't need it. There are other people who are like, no, it makes or breaks our winter. Yeah, it's crazy. The permanent fund dividend is crazy. So there's kind of a couple of different warring factions in Alaska right now. One of the factions says, you will give us a $50,000 payout to each citizen or else. Period. End of paragraph. And they're kind of one faction that's holding the state government funding for the next budget hostage. And then there's a whole other faction of like highly placed businessmen and women who are like, we are barely recovering from COVID. We finally are starting to have some tourism. We cannot afford to shut down our state government. Please don't do this. And there's all kinds of crazy in between.
Yeah. And this after dealing with 2 of our departments getting cyber hacked by other countries. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Alaska's all kinds of crazy. And so, Marn might get a few days off, or she might get a long time off, depending on, or no time whatsoever. It depends on who blinks and who doesn't.
Right? Yeah. I'm a little nervous for it happening. I think we come close every year. Like I said, like last year we didn't have it because of COVID. Like everyone was preoccupied with like not dying. And,
at least the people who thought it was real.
Yeah, exactly. Which we had plenty of people in our legislature who didn't think it was real.
Laura Reinbold.
Right. And so, yeah, it didn't happen last year. But, I mean, this happens every couple of years. And this also happens to be a contract negotiation year, too. So that's not helping the situation because they were trying to actually give us a pay decrease, and we want a pay increase.
Which kind of makes sense.
I think since I've started working for the state, and I've worked with them for 16, 17 years, the highest amount of pay increase we have received in 1 year was 3%. We normally get 0.5% to 1%. Every once in a while we go crazy and get 2%. And there were some big oil boom years where we got 3%. But yeah, I would have been happy with not a pay decrease. But because, like I said, I speak from a position of privilege. I do not have children that rely on me. We live, pretty comfortably. The other half will actually be considered a essential employee because we are going through a cyber hack and he is an IT person. So we will at least have one income. So I don't know. I'm also at the point where I'm like, I'm okay with watching the world burn.
Okay, that's what got us into the political situation in 2016. So let's not watch the world burn. Let's not.
We had some turnover at the top in my department, and they're making some changes that I don't agree with because I'm like, we just got a handle on that. I think we still need to be doing that double check of that thing. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm like, will it? And so I'm like, you know what? I'll just sit back and watch the world burn itself down. I'm fine. This is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna be like Dakota, just staring into the white flash.
Nice way to bring it back around. Very nice way to bring it back around.
Not totally out of practice podcasting.
All right. I don't have tons of numbers, but USS Pennsylvania, 0.87 million views on the same day. Ouch. Fairly good ratings on IMDb, 7.3. So Thomas O'Mara is still paying someone off there. The Beginning does not have numbers for same day views, which kind of surprised me because it's a couple weeks now. But 8.2 on IMDb. Again, Thomas O'Mara, money well spent.
So USS Pennsylvania has less than 1,000 raters, which The Beginning has over 1,000 raters. So apparently a lot of people just didn't rate it or skipped it, so that's interesting. It's the only episode that has less than 1,000 ratings this season.
It was a pretty boring episode.
It was. I literally have like 4 lines written down about the entire episode.
Well, I told you, I was like, I think I might have watched it twice, and I think I need to go watch it again because I don't think I wrote down any notes. And then I messaged you and was like, I wrote notes down. I don't have to watch it again.
Oh.
That is tragic.
It is.
Okay, I've got nothing to say about the title for the USS Pennsylvania. I don't know if you have anything illuminating to say.
No, it was obviously the
sub.
Sub. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how I see that 616 is the beginning, unless you're talking about CRM. Because Steve is going to have plenty of dead characters if we actually follow through with the true ramifications of radiation poisoning.
Right? And I have some science gripes, so...
Yeah, I think that we both will have some science gripes because there were a lot of situations where, and Phil brought up one specifically, and I'll give Phil credit when we get there, where I was like, do you really think that's going to give them enough protection from radiation?
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
think
go
so.
There. Yeah.
I mean, you and I are experts. We did watch Chernobyl last summer, so...
Right? That makes you an honorary nuclear physicist.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't do tons about the writer and director either because we've talked about all of them before. The writers for USS Pennsylvania were Nasreen Chowdhury, who wrote In Dreams, which was the episode about Athena, and also wrote an episode called Welcome to the Club, which I don't even remember, so it was completely forgettable. Sorry. And then the co-author on this episode was Nick Bernardone, and we've talked about him before because I always comment, he looks like a child. So he has written other episodes. I did not specifically write down which episodes he's worked on. The beginning was written by Steve's 2 favorite showrunners, the 2 knuckleheads. And you can kind of tell. You can see their hands in it. The director for USS Pennsylvania was Heather Capelio, and she has done this episode and Handle with Care for Fear, which I actually, probably the only reason I really truly liked Handle with Care was because it made me really like that song again. And it wasn't a terrible episode. I mean, in the scheme of episodes for this season, it was not a terrible episode.
No.
She has also worked on Blue Bloods, which was something you thought you would really enjoy. I remember talking about that. And she worked on Saving Grace. And isn't that the show that you and Amy like?
No, that was Raising Hope.
Oh, well, Raising Hope, Saving Grace, it's all kind of the same.
Wasn't Saving Grace with that comedian Grace something or rather? It kind of was in the same vein of like Roseanne.
You're probably right. I think you're right.
It was on like a while ago, and it was one of the like, I don't know, ABC, NBC, whatever must-see TV Thursday night, and it was good. I mean, it was cute.
That's the kiss of death. It was cute.
I mean, not super memorable. I really like the comedian. She's one of those.
She's Southern, and she's got a very big persona. I mean, I remember that about her.
Yeah, a lot of her comedy comes from a lot of the crap that she's been through in her personal life.
Yes,
and
I remember that too.
Yeah,
and someone's going to be like, look, we know which comedian you're talking about, and that's totally not the show.
I would look it up, and my keyboard goes click, 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 and it's annoying, so...
All right. And then Mikey Satrazemis is the person who directed the beginning. I just want to comment how far he has fallen from The Grove. I actually feel like I need to go back and watch The Grove again just to restore some of my faith. That's all I'm going to say about Michael Satrazemis. Okay, and now I'm going to let you tell me about Nick Stahl because I apparently have missed everything Nick Stahl has ever been in. And I've got to tell you, I do not dig this actor. I do not dig the character that he played. I thought he was irritating. I looked at his date of birth and he was born in December of 79, and I was like, just the right thing for him to be in Marn's era and for me to have completely missed him.
He is literally 1 week older than me. He was born December 5th, 1979. I was born December 12th, 1979. So I have kind of grown up with Nick Stahl. So I have been a big fan of his career for a very long time. And even though in IMDb it credits Stranger at My Door and Woman with a Past, two TV movies, prior to The Man Without a Face, I think they must have started filming The Man Without a Face before that, because everyone talks about it being his like first real gig.
His big breakout thing.
Yeah. So in 93 that would have made him 13, which I feel like he was younger than that, but he is one of the main characters. He's the one who befriends Mel Gibson, who has a burned face in it.
And we won't talk about what an unhealthy narcissist Mel Gibson is.
Right?
Right.
So then what I most know Nick Stahl from is one of my all-time favorite 90s high school movies. It was called Disturbing Behavior. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it if it is in your era, if you've not already watched it.
But if you're old like Dianne, don't bother.
So it has a very, very young James Marsden in it, who we know as Cyclops from X-Men.
Okay.
And it has a very, very adorable, trashy looking in the movie Katie Holmes.
Oh, I do like Katie Holmes.
Yeah. So she plays kind of a girl from the wrong side of town, and quintessential 90s hair and jeans, and it's great. I made the other half watch it when we saw Nick Stahl on Fear the Walking Dead this season. I was like, oh my God, Disturbing Behavior. And he's like, what? And I was like, you have not seen it? So we actually burned through about 4 movies from the mid 90s that he had not seen, because I'm like, seriously, you haven't seen that movie? Well, I guess I'm finding it on Vudu or whatever. So we did like a kind of a 90s movie marathon a couple of weeks ago, and Disturbing Behavior was one of them.
Where do you find the time, especially given the level of exhaustion that we were just discussing?
For me, it's therapeutic to sit on the couch and watch 90s movies and series, burn through this all of Black Summer season 2,
which I need to watch. But legit, right now, it's therapeutic for me to put on my heated mattress pad and stare at the ceiling or stare at the backs of my eyelids. It doesn't even matter. I could care less.
So when I try and actually go and do something, like it was a super nice day out today and took the dogs to the dog park, I wind up taking a blow to the head. So yeah, if I have memory trouble in this episode, and if I sound like I'm talking a little funny, it's because Dianne, I think I probably have a fractured jaw.
I said a minuscule fracture.
Right. No, I actually thought it was dislocated, but everyone made the point that if I can close my teeth together, it hurts when I do that, but I can actually do that. So my jaw is probably not dislocated.
Yeah, no, it's not dislocated, or you'd be like, I can't close my mouth properly.
And I took the top of a hard-headed dog right to the jaw, and it rang my bell. I had to sit on the pavement and try and remember what decade it was. So, yeah, here we are. So I thought it was the perfect night to podcast.
I'm just going to tell you what their dresses I have been shopping for. I've decided it's the 1950s all over again. All right, sorry, Nick Stahl. Let's go back to Nick Stahl. Do you have anything that you want to tell me about your lovely Nick Stahl?
He was in an episode of Law and Order, so gotta throw that in.
Sounds like you said Law and Hoarder.
So one of the other movies that he kind of is known for is The Thin Red Line, which is Thin Red Line and Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, I think, are probably his biggest roles in mainstream movies. He is really big into doing low budget indie movies, and you'll find that he either plays the bad guy or a troubled young man. So he kind of does both in Fear the Walking Dead. One of the movies that I absolutely love him in, and I hesitate to recommend the movie because it is a very, very heavy subject matter. And one of the stars of the movie, it actually has led also a very turbulent life, who was a child actor too. Brad Renfro actually killed himself shortly after the movie. So the movie's called Bully. And it's a pack of naive teenagers that conspire to kill a mutual friend whose aggressive demeanor has proved too much. So Nick Stahl plays the aggressive friend, and I will just say that there is a big sexual assault trigger for men and women in this movie. So I very, very hesitate to recommend Bully, but it is a really, really kind of big, heavy subject matter movie that he was in. And I liked it just because it does have a lot of heavy subject matter, and it had sort of an element of true crime also. While it doesn't say that it is based on a true story, it is very, very similar to a true story that happened. So
I've got to tell you that you did turn my stomach a little bit.
Yeah. It's, like I said, very, very trigger warning on that movie if you seek it out. And then the other thing that he's in, and this is one that I missed the boat on because I did not have the pay channel that it was on at the time, Carnival. He was in 26 episodes of Carnival, which I've wanted to watch, and I just haven't had the time on the list.
And I'm embarrassed to say I don't even remember what Carnival was about. I really don't.
During the Great Depression, an Oklahoma farm boy and his charismatic minister learn that they are key players in a proxy war being fought between heaven and hell.
Yes, I totally would have blown that. Yeah. Totally would not have remembered that whatsoever.
So there is another sort of mainstream hit that he was in. He was in the movie Sin City. You might not recognize him from it because he was only out of makeup for all of 20 seconds of the movie. And then he played a character called the Yellow Bastard. And he was pretty unrecognizable in the role. So did a really good job. Played a bad guy, of course. I love that movie. He did take a little bit of a break from acting around 2012 when he had some personal issues. He and his wife separated. He was reported missing for a while by his wife. He did turn up and was subsequently arrested for a charge he was not convicted of. So I am not going to say it here. You can look it up if you wish. But the man has turned his life around, and I don't think people should have to pay for mistakes forever. So,
I will say it depends on the mistake, but yes.
Right.
Like there's a certain cop in Minnesota that should pay for his mistake forever and ever. Right. Amen. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm being political.
So he did take a little bit of a break around 2012, but he has worked on his sobriety and has become he's improved his role as a father to his. I don't think they're divorced. I think they're still separated. His wife. I think his daughter's name is Marlo, and she is absolutely beautiful. Nick Stahl does have an Instagram where he has his daughter on his Instagram, and it's a very, very normal person Instagram, just pictures of him and his kids and his friends and dog and, a few things from Fear the Walking Dead. But anything that you see on his Twitter is probably just auto-posted from his Instagram. So you can follow him on either. You can at Nick Stahl on Twitter or Instagram. And don't worry, you will be seeing him coming up in a few things. He has...
Yeah, I saw that he had like 4 things in completed post and announced.
Right. Plus... I kind of have a sneaking suspicion we will see him in the web series surrounding the submarine because he was the...
Oh, is there going to be a web series around the submarine? I totally missed that. Good
Yes.
on you.
So they're going to do kind of a...
Because we haven't had enough about this whole season of Fear the Walking Dead. We need a series of webisodes. Okay.
Right. It's going to be kind of the same flight 246, 242.
Flight whatever.
Yeah. And then like the red machete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be like what happened during the apocalypse when the submarine at the bottom of the ocean, because of course everyone's infected, so set a zombie loose in a sealed tin can at the bottom of the ocean, and that is a good show in itself right there.
But apparently Riley survives.
Yes, he does. So we'll see about that. So I hope he reprises his role in it, because otherwise I think that would just be kind of weird. So yeah, that's our featured cast member, Nick Stahl. Like I said, I have been wanting to do him as a featured cast member this entire time that we have seen him on the show for this season. I figured his time was limited, but yeah, I do like the way they ended things with him walking off with the word "end" written on the back
right.
I thought that was pretty good. So.
This is not the end. Maybe it is the end. We're not really sure if it's the end. Right? We're kind of hoping it's the end.
Well, it was the end for Riley. So his polluted body gets to roam the wasteland of Texas from here on out.
Well, it is Texas, so there will be a magical cure for the radiation poisoning. And where are all those kids? I'm just asking.
They're working on the cure for radiation poisoning.
There you go. They did rebuild an airplane.
Yep. Well, they totally had like the Lost Boys city going in those trees too.
Yes, they did.
Industrious young people.
That is what our world is lacking today. I'm just being snarky.
I was going to say...
I'm just being snarky.
Gen Z.
No, I'm just being ridiculous. I did want to give a shout out, and I hope I don't slaughter his name too horribly, but Omid Abtahi. So he is the guy who played the historian that Victor Strand hooked up with and lied to about his identity, which we'll go there too.
I really hope we see more of him.
So he played one of my favorite characters in American Gods. He played a character named Salim. And you pointed out that he also was in... Help me out.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, yes. Mm-hmm. And I just fell in love with him as Salim in American Gods, so I was really happy to see him, and I kept looking at him thinking, is that Salim? So it was kind of cool. That's one of the dogs drinking. That's Smalls. He'll probably eventually collapse and sigh.
Groan sigh.
Yes. He also has an ear infection, which I discovered last night, and I feel like a horrible mother. Did you hear him? Which is doggy used for, yes, she is a horrible mother.
Yes.
Okay, oh my god. So we are talking. We're talking. I did not look at the Forbes articles, so I'm going to let you talk about those. I felt like I didn't find very much for Whisperer's Corner, but I will talk about the things that I found for Whisperer's Corner. This is courtesy of Phil. Laurie Holden, who we all know as Andrea, will play the Crimson Countess in season 3 of The Boys.
Ooh.
Which I'm quite excited about because I have loved The Boys.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see her in a different role.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of people who gave her a lot of grief about her role in The Walking Dead. I really loved her. I remember her from the X-Files, so yeah. All right. Skybound is bringing back the character Clementine from The Walking Dead video games, and she is going to be in a comic book series, and this is also courtesy of Phil, and he was like, I think they're trying to get the YA set. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, because The World Beyond showed us that young adults in the zombie apocalypse are so interesting.
Yeah, I think they went a little too young with the young adults for World Beyond. So.
Well, and I will say that Clementine was a tremendously adored character for people who played that series of games. Mm-hmm. So I think that the comic book has a really good chance at being very popular. Let's see. Coleman Domingo is going to be adapting his play The Dot for AMC/AMC streaming series called ALLBLK, which I'm assuming is supposed to be all black. And it is a play about basically a parent with Alzheimer's, but a family dealing with kind of uncovering some childhood trauma as well. So it sounds very complicated, multi-generational, somewhat triggering and painful. Just beware. And then this is not really Walking Dead related, but it is AMC related. Apparently,
I think I know where you're going.
I think you probably know where I'm going. So AMC is going to do Interview with a Vampire.
Yay! It sounds like they're going with all the Vampire Chronicles.
And I've got mixed feelings because I was not a giant. Although I thought that that Brad Pitt was a reasonable Louis,
Mm-hmm.
I was not a giant fan of Tom Cruise as Lestat.
Yeah.
Then
the Vampire Lestat movie was sort of atrocious.
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah,
I watched Queen of the Damned.
I'm sorry, that's what it was, Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, and it was all right. It wasn't great. It was all right.
It had a good soundtrack.
And then, God, I'm totally blowing her name. She was in the Spider-Man movies, and I totally should know her name. She played the very young vampire, the kid vampire who should never have been turned.
Oh.
Claudia, right?
Yeah, Claudia in the movie.
God dang, Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
So she was fantastic. I mean, I thought she was well cast. I thought she was a little too old for the character, but I thought she was well cast.
Yeah, it would have been tough to pull off that character any younger for an actress. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, and if they do not go into my favorite Vampire Chronicle book, I am going to scream bloody murder.
So which one is your favorite one?
Memnoch the Devil.
Really?
Yes, I love anything that Lucifer that is now on Netflix. I love that show,
which is loosely based on the Lucifer from the Neil Gaiman Sandman series,
right? And you've got Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing the devil on. Kind of playing the devil. Was he the devil on Supernatural?
You know, I didn't watch Supernatural. I know
Neither did I.
I'm a horrible human.
It's one of those now that it's like, oh my god, they're like 30 seasons in. I can never
only
watch
15 really, but still close enough to 30.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's far too late for me to start that. I will just rewatch shows that I have watched before.
Well, I'm going to tell you Queen of the Damned was probably my favorite of all of the vampire novels, but it was because of the story of the redheaded twins. Which was not well served in the movie.
I can't even really remember it in the movie.
I know.
Huh. Yeah, so I'm excited for any non-pay channel to pick up the moniker of Vampire Chronicles. I'm really glad it's AMC. If anyone can do a pretty decent job at it, it's going to be them. I think I probably would have preferred it to be on like Hulu or I don't know, Showtime or something like that, just because there's a lot of nudity in the books that they're going to gloss over. So, and a lot of violence and gore and things like that. So,
although I don't know, they have done Breaking Bad and Walking Dead, so gotta give them a little credit.
oh yeah. That's why if anybody can do it, they can.
Yeah.
Anybody on cable. Yeah.
All right, you were going to briefly summarize the Forbes articles because you're a better person than me and you looked at them. Because I completely forgot.
I did find one by both Eric Kane and Paul Tassi, and so Eric Kane calls it a very bad, no good season finale. So you can imagine what his take was on it. He, like many of us, was butthurt that Alicia was nowhere to be found. He actually talks a lot about like the whole season, but Paul Tassi says Fear the Walking Dead just nuked the world, literally, not figuratively. And he is also dubious on the science of the episode. So yeah, his take on it was much shorter than Eric King's.
Because it was pretty much like nuclear winter, nuclear fallout, everybody dies, the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even have to read his article because that's exactly how I feel. So
Yeah. It's about everything that we're just about to talk about. Dwight and Sherry's non-nuke proof shelter, you know? So we'll get into that.
Oh my god, and that's not even the worst non-nuke proof shelter.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go there. So neither of them liked the episode. So we're in pretty good company, I guess.
I guess it would depend on, whether or not you thought that was good company, right?
Right. Because we've always been down on Eric Kane's opinion about nurses, so...
Damn nurses. All right. So I guess that takes us into Housewives Weekly. I just want to once again apologize to everybody. I feel like that's all I'm doing these days. I am completely burnt out and fried. So I am in week 2 of not working. I have 2 more weeks before I start my new job. I am expecting that I am going to close on my house right after I start my new job and then move the following weekend and then come back and clean my cabin. I'm exhausted. And I still have to do an audit for my nursing license, and I still have to have a TB test done.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous. So
is that
I'm just
Alaska thing? Or is that just like the clinic?
So it's a healthcare thing. I'm not sure how regulations are handled from state to state because I've never done healthcare anywhere other than Alaska. Most clinics want you to have an annual TB test. This clinic that I am hiring onto is not satisfied with the fact that I had one done in December. They want one that's more recent than that. So
we do have TB outbreaks here, so
I am completely asymptomatic. I know you can still have it. I am completely asymptomatic, but I will go and be a good person and have my blood drawn because that's how they do it now. They don't do the skin test anymore.
Really?
Skin test is like super rare. A few clinics will still do them, but most places do a thing called a quantiferon gold, which is a blood test.
Wow. I just remember standing in line when I was a kid in school.
Oh, yeah, and
having
getting
to have that
stabbed.
stupid test.
Yeah, no, it's totally different now. Anyway, so the reason that I bring all of that up is I am in the middle of starting a new job. I am in the middle of closing on a house, which is going to need to have a roof done after I close on it. Don't worry, I've got the finances worked out around that. And I'm not going to have to pay for it. Packing, moving, divorcing, still in the middle of trying to get divorced. Ex-husband released the Kraken. Yes.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. And I'm just exhausted and burnt out, and I'm really sorry. And biters and housewives, it's probably going to be pretty sporadic for a while. I'm just going to be straight up with people. Part of it, too, is that I have to work out the logistics of getting my utilities, including my internet, set up in Anchorage, which, I mean, it's only 40 miles away, but it's 40 miles away. And it's me doing it, like, when I'm not working and just all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say now, we're going to be sporadic. I'm really sorry. It's not Marnell's fault. It's not Southgate Media's fault. It's totally on just my crazy life right now.
Well, if you would like to see me...
There you go.
I've been doing the Patreon movie review with Phil and the gang, and I am hoping to get in on the Black Widow movie review on July 11th.
And I may end up doing the Black Widow one, but that's a day before I start my new job, so I'm not making promises.
Yeah. So you could maybe see us there too, so...
You can definitely see Marnell there. You can maybe see me there. Who knows? Maybe I'll be wearing one of my new rockabilly swing dresses. You never know.
Or
that crazy Chrissy Teigen robe.
My stupid chaise lounge won't be in until August. I was hoping to do the video podcast one of these days from my chaise lounge, but... The furniture gods had other things in mind.
So, since we're on the subject of furniture, because we haven't talked enough about our personal lives, and we've talked way too much about Fear the Walking Dead, so all of my furniture is here except my chaise lounge. Because
of course.
You inspired me, and I bought a pink velvet chaise lounge. So there we are.
Did those just become really popular during COVID?
I don't know. Because everybody wanted to laze around with one arm or one hand thrown over their brow going, my life, my life.
Right?
All I know is that I'm happy that my king-size bed is here and I'm not going to have to sleep in my spare bedroom in my queen-size bed. I'm very excited that my brand new bed is here and will be ready to be moved in and set up. That makes me very happy.
How exciting.
Yes.
And you are absolutely going the way of when they deliver it, they will set it up.
Oh my God, yes.
There's no other way to go.
I am having a moving service move all of my crap out of here. I am paying for the furniture delivery people to deliver and set things up. I am doing as little as I humanly have to because let me tell you, packing here and throwing crap away is enough.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah. New life, no assembly required.
Oh my God. Zero except the black chandelier and the ceiling fan, which was requested for the master bedroom. So there have been very, very few requests. That was a request that I am willing to honor because there are so few requests.
And honestly, I will tell you the hardest part about installing a chandelier, speaking from experience, is you really do have to have a second person there, one person to hold it while you do the wiring and actually putting it on, affixing it to the ceiling or the bracket or whatever you have.
So here's the great thing. I have Tom, Michelle, and potentially gorgeous boyfriend. And I'm definitely, for mounting the TV on the wall, going to need Tom, Michelle, and gorgeous boyfriend. Because he's going to have to be the one who holds the TV up while the rest of us are like, now what do we do?
Yeah, if you looked behind my TV, you would see plenty of holes back there because we tried to mount the TV and we figured out that wall has 1x6s, not 2x4s. So I went back a few years ago. I went, the TV's heavy enough. I don't really trust that. TVs are much lighter now, so maybe when we get a replacement. But yeah, there are plenty of holes behind. So it's behind your TV. It'll be fine.
Are you telling me that I need to think about buying a new TV too? I don't want to buy...
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
Don't worry about your TV right now.
Okay, I'm not going to worry about my TV. I'm going to worry about my roof. Which I'm not buying. The seller is buying. We're just doing it after the fact. She's paying some of my closing costs to cover the roof. So here we are. Ugh. All right. Bottom line is, I'm officially burnt out. I'm exhausted. We're going to try to catch up on Housewives. It's going to be sporadic. I'm sorry. We love you.
So we got a very, very lovely fan letter.
Oh, good. Are you going to read it?
Do we want to read it now or do we want to read it at the end?
We definitely need to read it at some point. If we're not going to do it now, we should do it at the end.
I have it pulled up so we can do it at the end. Just don't let me forget. I will try and keep my phone on.
Okay. So I guess that gets us to goods, bads, and uglies. And again, they're combined for the 2 episodes because this could go forever.
Do we even know who goes first?
Well, I made you go first with the rating, so I'm going to make you go first with your good as well.
Okay. So my good actually didn't come until the very, very end of the last episode. It was Strand's I'm a Survivor speech.
Really?
Yes. So we have missed this strand of season 1, and I really think that we're going to return to those roots, and Strand is going to be, the grifter again. I think when he got into where this other guy was, Howard, he totally clocked that guy. He was like, okay, art, history, books, bourbon, got it. And now he's totally just going to grift this Howard guy.
Girl, I am going to honestly tell you that I wrote in my notes, this is the first time in a long time that I have absolutely hated Strand because he was so self-serving and awful. And why did he have to lie about being Morgan? What was that all about?
I didn't totally get that either. I think that he probably thought it was the end. And that's the thing, is he thought it was the end. And so you would think he would be honest about who he was, because what does it matter, But again, I really feel like he there's going to be a bigger, Strand is the good bad guy or the bad good guy, yeah, I just, we don't have Alicia around. We have, I think, totally burned our bridge with Morgan. So anybody Morgan is involved with, I think we're going to see a much darker Strand next season.
I am not loving Strand.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really not.
I like to root for the bad guys sometimes.
Well, I'm not saying I don't like to root for the bad guys sometimes, but I'm not loving Strand right now.
Okay.
I'm just not.
But, you got to hand it to him. The man is a survivor. We have 2 people left over from season 1, and who would have thought Strand would be one of them?
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that.
All right, what was your good?
Well, my good, and this actually comes from the USS Philadelphia episode, and it was the only thing good that I had to say about that episode.
Pennsylvania.
Sorry, Pennsylvania. The race to the submarine finally unified all of our heroes in a way that they have not been for the entire season.
Yeah, it was a little weird that they all like did this convoy to there and then they split up. Like, what was the point of that?
But they at least all had a common purpose.
Okay.
You know, which they haven't had. I mean, they've kind of been at war with each other.
And look, they failed.
Shh. They did. They failed completely. It's because they didn't have the kids with them, and the kids are nuclear engineers.
Right? The kids would have stopped it.
I mean, and they should have utilized Grace's intelligence, but here we are.
Yeah.
All right. What was your bad?
My bad was basically the entirety of episode 15.
Was there anything you liked about episode 15?
I honestly think it's because they built it up. They were like, the last two episodes are going to be amazing.
You kept watching those ads, and I didn't watch any of those, and I'm so glad I didn't.
They were just like, it's going to be life-changing. It's like nothing we've ever done before, yada, yada, yada. I literally, like I said, I have 4 lines written about episode 15, and one of them in big letters is, "This is so slow." Like, it just, it was kind of an unnecessary episode. I feel like we could have wrapped that up somewhere in episode 16, or like 15 could have been the last one. And I don't know, like, it was really, really slow. It didn't have much purpose to it. Yeah.
I didn't have a lot positive to say about that episode either.
Yeah. So that was my bad. I'm really, really glad that we actually wound up podcasting these two together, because podcasting episode 15 as a standalone would have been really, really difficult for me.
Things happen for a reason.
So what was your bad?
I cannot believe that this is the first time that Grace and Morgan have told each other, "I love you." Are you kidding me? How long have they been dancing around this subject?
You're right.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize it until it was pointed out, I think, on Talking Dead. Yeah.
It legit was the dumbest thing ever. And this is the first time he's said, "I thought I could be a husband and a father to you and your baby." Really? And she was like grotesquely pregnant and ready to pop, and you hadn't said that to her already? Morgan, let me talk to you about security in relationships. I know I'm not the best person to give relationship advice right now, but definitely waiting until after her child has been stillborn to tell her that, not a good plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible writing.
Well, and I think we'll probably get more into Morgan needs to be a little more aware of other people's social cues.
I don't know that Morgan is going to live long enough to be aware of other people's social cues, except because this series is so badly written, probably everyone who's had horrific radiation exposure is going to be fine. They're all going to get pregnant, including Dwight and Morgan, and the baby will absorb the radiation and be stillborn, and it'll be fine.
Right.
Yes, I just said that out loud.
So, my ugly.
You're like, I'm not sure how
Moving
to follow
on.
that, but...
So I am really, really hopeful for Dwight and Sherry. Sherry's been a huge downer this past season, and I think that, like, we're over that. And she even says some stuff in this episode that is like, I can't believe I wasted so much time, like
That was actually
so,
one of my favorite parts of the series, or I mean the episode was, I thought it was well acted. I thought it was very sincere. I wasted so much time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I really liked that. And then when they went after the two the enders, the beginners, I don't know what we're calling them. We're calling them nuked at this point. So when they went after those guys, and they were doing it not for themselves, they were doing it because it's like, we're not going to let the bad guy win anymore. Like we're just going to do this one thing because like we're so sick of the bad guys winning, and before we die, we're going to help this family, and the bad guys aren't going to win. And so they did it. And even Sherry was like, I haven't seen you like that in a really long time. And she felt really good about like kind of getting her little bit of justice against the bad guy, whatever bad guy it happens to be. And so it's been kind of kicked around in a lot of the things that I've read. And I think they may have either mentioned it at the end of the episode when they talked to the showrunners, or it was in Talking Dead, but it's going to kind of be a theme for Dwight and Sherry that they're going to sort of Bonnie and Clyde it. And, I think they may like go on the road and become,
we're going to talk about Dwight, Sherry, and Science. So
vigilantes. So I would really, really like to see that. And so now I'm like, okay, I don't need the Daryl and Carol show. I need the Bonnie and Clyde version of Dwight and Sherry going around righting all the wrongs.
I'm not even sure what to say. I'm just not sure what to say.
So obviously my ugly was a good ugly, which is kind of surprising because of, how much I didn't like these episodes. I do have hope for the future because of all of the things that they sort of set up in this last episode. I know my hopes will probably come crashing down in season 7, but here we are. I have hope. I always have hope. So what was your ugly?
My ugly was actually not a discussion of radiation sickness, because I think we'll go there in Rotting Potpourri. My ugly was hashtag where's Wendell, hashtag where's Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb.
Yes.
Did we see Wendell at all this season? Maybe once?
I feel like we didn't. I feel like maybe we talked to him on a radio or something.
I'm a little irritated. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I really think the whole, like, Alicia, you're going to be the beginning. And then we see nothing? What?
Yeah, so it's going to be super interesting to touch on Alicia's story arc now that Teddy is gone and Riley is gone.
And she's locked up somewhere.
Yeah, so like are these people really true believers? Are they really going to believe what Teddy fed them after Teddy is gone?
I got nothing.
Usually when people get away from the charismatic leader, they tend to start questioning their cult, basically. And so it will be interesting to see if a new leader arises and takes over the cult, or if they just kind of disband, or just maybe carry on, thinking that, Teddy is like out in the ethos or taken by a UFO, or, whatever they want to believe to keep going.
God. All right.
I think that puts us squarely in rotting potpourri.
I think it puts us in rotting potpourri. So, in my rotting potpourri, like my first rotting potpourri is actually about the USS Pennsylvania. I'm not sure that I have a whole heck of a lot. I was extremely disturbed that Teddy was like already working on forming Dakota's little brain, because we know that brains aren't really mature until you're about 25. So that was kind of disturbing.
Okay, so here's my thing about Dakota, because I was thinking about her after Charlie shot Riley. And, we all forget that Charlie killed Nick,
Right.
And she was this like hopeless teenage girl that, everyone is going to give up on. And she has since turned it around. I don't think that would happen with Dakota. I think Dakota was so traumatized and screwed up by her sister to begin with that...
Her sister/mother.
Sister/mother. Yeah. I don't think there was going to be any redemption for Dakota. Her little brain was already formed in a sociopathic role, and I don't think any sort of Alicia influence or John Dory teachings or anything like that was going to save her.
I don't know. It was disturbing. And actually, this kind of goes into stuff in the next episode. Like, there was definitely, like, the whole scene where he was, like, embracing her and, like...
Oh, that was so cringy!
It was, like, it was Chester the molestery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally creepy. Creepy.
I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
Post-apocalyptic, like, from the female perspective, like, it's never good.
Glad we were on the... I'm super glad we were on the same page.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that something that Teddy said in the very, it's like the first thing that's said in episode 15, and you sort of kind of see it threaded throughout both episodes, and once it's pointed out, if you didn't already see it, you'll see it. He said, "It's easy to get people to follow you. You just have to offer them something they really want." And so that's what he was doing with Dakota, is he was offering her to be able to be herself. To
have some acceptance.
Yes, he was going to accept her, just as she was. He wasn't going to try and change her.
Yeah.
But there was this whole big storyline about Strand talking about the people that follow Morgan, and people following Morgan. And Strand talked about, at the end when he was talking about how, oh God, what was the line? It was a great line. It was like we have a bright future behind us.
Oh, right. Because he's talking about like the foundation of things that they can rebuild the world on.
Yes. And so again, you have that he's going to be a leader and he's going to need followers. So all you have to do is you have to offer people something they really want. And that's why I think he totally clocked Howard and was like, okay, how do I get this guy? How do I get in with this guy?
I really don't want to see that character used like that. Just more than anything because of my attachment to him as Salim. But
right. So, but there was this whole theme of leaders and followers in this episode. And
which episode are you talking about? You're talking about the second one?
Both episodes.
Okay.
Because Teddy said it at the very beginning of episode 15, and then it was sort of threaded throughout about, giving people what they want and they'll follow you.
So, what's really interesting? My very last comment for my notes for 6:15 was, that's it? That's it?
I cannot believe that, one, Strand betrayed Morgan again, like just throwing him to the wolves, basically. And doubly so that Morgan goes on to save Strand. Like, why? Why?
I got nothing. I'm really unhappy with Strand right now. And I know that eventually, if they do what they have consistently done, they will cycle Strand back around.
Yeah.
I'm really unhappy with Strand right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, the thing about what Teddy said at the beginning, this is so slow, and then the whole scene where he kicks Morgan into the walkers and then Morgan saves him. The only other thing that I have written about episode 15 is, of course, it's the last card. You know, he's going through all the cards he took off the people to get into the room. And, like, he goes through, like, 20 of them. None of them work except for the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's always the way it is.
Yeah. Just like, oh, come on. Make it like the third of the last one. You know?
Give them a handful of cards that they toss to the side and go, I didn't need those after all.
Right. Like, it would have cost you nothing to make it the third to the last card. But no, you had to think you were building that suspense and you had to make it the last card.
Okay. So, at first I was like, all right, Rachel, baby Morgan, Rufus the dog. How is she going to be sure that Rufus the dog won't stop and get eaten by her zombie? And then I was like, okay, she tied her mouth. Okay.
She muzzled herself.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to give her a break. That was a good strategy.
Yeah, because I thought about that too, and I actually didn't think about it until Rufus found Morgan, and I was like, oh God, I didn't even realize that, because I thought she wanted somebody to be able to get to the baby without her biting them. So That's why I thought she must. But when, like, Rufus kind of was dragging her along, I was like, oh my God, that poor dog would have not been able to stop until he found somebody. Like, there would have been no resting. Because we've seen walkers tear up open horses before. Like,
or he might have stopped to pee, and that would have been the end of Rufus and the baby.
Right? Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I think 3 miles to the coast, like, and I mean, I would say that the submarine was like a half a mile in, so like 2.5 miles, like. Yeah, you have a compound fracture, which was disgusting, by the way. I could sit on my butt and scoot myself backwards 2.5 miles. Right?
On the pavement? Ow.
Well, I mean, just like kind of crab crawl with, one leg. I just...
With a baby and a dog?
I don't know if I would have been able to Harry carry myself.
She was pretty brave.
I probably would have been the coward who, died slowly there. And then wound up, eating a dog and my baby and probably somebody else. But yeah, poor Rufus. I'm so glad they didn't kill the dog. And I read that they also confirmed that Skidmark did survive the blast wherever he is.
Sweetie, they killed the dog because he jumped in like an SUV and then the blast came through. For all intents and purposes, they didn't show it, but they killed the dog.
They confirmed that both Rufus and Skidmark will be seen next season.
Okay, sloppy writing. So that just takes us into the whole nuclear fallout, radiation poisoning. So, okay. I do not believe that Dwight and Sherry and the people that they weathered the storm cellar with,
nope,
they were not protected. Morgan, Grace, and baby Morgan were not protected.
Oh,
I'm
God.
not even... I mean, they hid it under some wheels, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no. I'm like, okay... So if we think about this linearly and logically, all of them had come together at the submarine, and we're talking in less than a day that Dakota and Teddy went wherever they went, and Dwight and Sherry went wherever they went, and Wes and Charlie and all the others went wherever they went. It was less than a day, and Dakota gets fried immediately. Like, really? Is everybody else in that radius? Like, I know that the missile came down in a different spot than from where it went up. I get that. But you're less than 50 miles away from each other at this point. Like, if Dakota is getting vaporized, everybody else is going to slowly die. Not even that slowly, like quickly die of horrendous burns.
I'm feeling like the only people who have a shot are the people who got whisked away in the CRM helicopter.
That helicopter is blown out of the sky by that shockwave. I am sorry.
Really?
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So pretty much everybody's dead except maybe June and John Dory Sr.
And Alicia somewhere.
And Alicia.
Yep.
Steve, there's only 3 cast members left. 5 if you include the dog and the cat, which I don't believe they survived.
No. Al is somewhere.
Al is in the helicopter. That's who was in the helicopter.
No.
Yeah.
No. That was her girlfriend.
It was not Isabel because they actually said that's Al.
No.
Yes, they did.
No.
All right.
I don't.
Biters. They said that's Al.
Al said that she wasn't there. She was talking on the radio. She wasn't there because she didn't know how many they were going to have to pick up.
Okay, so maybe that's what I misunderstood. I misunderstood that when it was Salazar who said that's Al, he was talking about the person in the full helmet and face getup.
Yeah, no.
Which, I mean, it didn't make sense to me that Al would be flying a helicopter, but we did have a whole bunch of 12-year-olds rebuild a plane. So.
Yeah. So, and here's the things. I think that Al met up with, I cannot remember her name. Isabel. And they, like, this is not a sanctioned CRM mission to go pick up all these stragglers.
Not.
So they're not, it's not like they're flying back to the CRM base or anything, back to the Commonwealth or
because
wherever.
Julia Ormond's character is going to decapitate the both of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, this crime is punishable by death. So they're gonna fly to wherever Al is hiding out, and I mean that's if the helicopter survived. And I'm actually gonna be really mad if like they don't have at least some severe turbulence.
But your point is, and it's taken, is that if in fact they were impacted by one of these nuclear blasts, and we don't even know how many warheads re-entered the atmosphere.
Right.
Then all of those people were irradiated as well. They weren't protected. And I don't believe that Morgan and the historian were protected. Or no, Morgan. Sorry, that was bad. Strand and the historian were protected because basically it was a plate of glass.
Yeah. So we're going to be playing by Night of the Comet rules, where anybody who was not instantly vaporized and was protected enough to not have been vaporized is going to slowly die of radiation poisoning.
Which basically means the whole cast, except possibly June and John Dory Sr. and Alicia are dead.
And Alicia and Al. Wherever Al is. If Al is outside of the blast radius.
Which we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure. Yep. Yeah. I did mention in one of the past podcasts, I was like, I would actually be totally okay if they went, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna nuke the planet and we're gonna reboot this whole thing underground. And it's the whole, you have to survive in a closed ecosystem.
You know what? If they do that, peace out, sister. We're gonna have to figure out something else to podcast because I cannot do it. I can't. I just can't.
I think this is the prequel to The 100.
I am just telling you I can't.
Yeah.
You should see my eyes right now. We should be video podcasting because, oh my God. No, this is not happening.
Oh, so funny.
How far we have come from Walking Dead Season 1. How far we have come from Internment. How far we have come from The Grove. Come on, people. Ah! I did write in my notes, Dakota really is a monstrous little sociopath.
She is, but you know,
I know, sociopaths are often made and not born.
Zoe Colletti is such a lovely young woman. She, I don't know if you watched Talking Dead.
No,
after.
Are you kidding? I can barely get through this, and I'm not gonna swear, Rob.
Zoe was on Talking Dead, and I really hope she has a burgeoning career.
Oh, she will.
Yeah,
I mean, she's lovely. Great. Yeah. I have to say, I also wrote "This isn't the end" in quotes because, you know, they spray painted that on the ground, and then my comment next to it was, "Well, that's unfortunate."
And here I'm like, "Oh my God, Wes, really? Like, the nuclear blast is about to go off, and you're like, no, let me just get this one dig in that nobody else is gonna see.
This isn't the end." But then we've got a dude walking around forever with the end spray painted on his. Yeah, not even the end. End.
Someone's gonna come up to the pavement and be like, "This isn't the. Wait, what? This isn't the what?"
That presupposes that anybody in that area wasn't irradiated.
The kids survived.
You're right. It is Texas.
The kids made radiation suits out of shower curtains. It'll be fine.
Oh my God. I still have to buy blackout curtains and a shower curtain. Thank you. Now I'm inspired. When you live somewhere where it's daylight for like 14 hours a day, you need blackout curtains. Trust me. Okay, sorry. God. Totally not related.
Stupid birds at 3 a.m. Ugh. They're tweeting because it's like sunrise at 3 a.m.
Right.
So, yeah. Ugh. So I think that Teddy actually got a fitting end. I actually like that Dakota offed him and he didn't see his
apocalypse.
Plan
yes.
Yes. I love that she, like, we harp on her for being a little sociopath, but it kind of paid off in this respect.
There are definitely times that sociopathic tendencies can be appropriate.
Yeah. And not that I wanted to see the slow death and torture of a sociopathic young woman, but I think she got off a little too easy. Like, instant vaporized. She didn't have to pay for her crimes. She didn't have to, like, yeah. She got off really light.
That's okay. Anybody who cares is dead anyway, so.
Oh.
I mean, June and John Dory Sr. have already said that they forgave her, so, you know, anybody else who cared is dead.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that. I don't know if they were just saying that because they thought they had a chance with her, or if they really do forgive her. And if they do, they're better people than me.
Okay, I thought I had no more notes, but I did write this down. I was a little ticked off that all of a sudden June is like, I remembered what John Dory would have wanted me to remember. And I'm like, you know what? We didn't see any of that progression of June's character. Like, she goes from, I'm going to blow Virginia away, to, I completely forgive you because I have rediscovered all of the amazing, wonderful, loving impulses that my husband had.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like maybe they should have expanded upon that, and kind of maybe attributed it to John Dory Sr. being in her life now.
Something, like 30 seconds of, and this is why I've come to feel this way.
Yeah.
I
mean, even just skimming over that letter again.
Yeah.
One of the I liked that they did the last episode kind of as an anthology. I really appreciated that format. Dame El Armana. Any idea what that is?
No, because I didn't care enough to look it up.
Ah, okay.
I assume you did.
I didn't.
I was pretty much like, I need to rewatch this so Marnell and I can actually podcast tonight, and I'm rewatching it as fast as I can. And I can skim through watching Rachel break her leg because I know what that looks like.
Oh, that is not an English Google.
As in Google is saying that's not English, or as in...
I got all non-English Google. I am not finding it.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Maybe someday it'll be on the trivia on IMDb.
Or the Walking Dead trivia game that's sure to come out someday if one hasn't already. Cards Against the Walking Dead.
Cards Against the Walking Dead.
There you
That's
go.
Awesome. Armana means no... Oh, there is no direct translation.
Armana means there's no direct translation?
Yeah, apparently. Huh.
Dude, you should see my dog who is going to make the earth split asunder. She is so cute right now.
Oh?
Oh my god, she's just adorable. She's just totally sacked out on her back with her belly up in the air. Which probably means it's about time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so. So, Dianne and I got a very lovely letter from a loyal listener. And I will say that it even made the cold and dead inside tear up a little. So it's pretty long.
But it's worth reading every word. Do you want me to pull it up too and take part of it, or?
Sure.
Okay, so I have to get into my email and remind me like what the title of it is.
Forward, fan letter to biters and the real Alaska housewives from Southgate Media. So it starts off, "Hey Dianne and Marnell, loyal fan here. I found biters in 2017. I was low. My 3 sons went to college spread across the United States, and the U.S. felt foreign to me with Trump at the helm. I started streaming The Walking Dead. None of my friends were watching, so I hunted for a podcast to keep me company and guide me on this post-apocalyptic journey. I've listened to every episode of Biters. I did this despite the fact that I stopped watching the show after Negan smashed Glenn and Abraham heads like a pumpkin. Yeah, that was bad. But I hung in with the show until the end of season 9. I stopped watching, but I wouldn't stop listening to Biters. I continued listening to Biters. Yep, I stopped watching TWD, but I continued listening to you two. Amazing. The dynamic duo. I thought I might dive back into watching the series, but I didn't. I found your reviews and commentary filled my need for TWD. Your conversations, diversions, tangents, rabbit holes, funny banter, and laughter was like a balm to me. And during the pandemic, The Walking Dead and The Real Alaska Housewives provided me a continuing routine at a time when most routines had vanished. Each week, I savored your episodes, and I listened, getting a glass of wine and drinking with you.
Then you started The Real Housewives of Alaska. It's now my favorite podcast. The movie selections you choose to review are excellent. My only wish is that you could announce the week before what you'll be reviewing the next week so that I can watch and be prepared. I know it's difficult to schedule ahead, so no biggie. And aside, we will be doing part 2 of Crime of the Century, but we're probably going to do it the next couple of days, and I'm not sure if this is going to be up, so hang in there with us. We'll try to get better about that. Back to the letter. I love that you guys go all in with every episode. You guys have heart and insight, and your enthusiasm is contagious. I hope you guys will continue podcasting, especially the Real Housewives of Alaska. From your discussions on air, I know that you're both crazy busy. And Dianne, I'm so happy you've discovered yourself anew after your breakup. When I was 45 and newly divorced, I had 3 11-year-old boys. A year later, I added my profile to a dating site for the first time. It was scary and sometimes creepy, but mostly it was empowering. And I met some great guys, some of whom are still in my life as friends. Soon I fell madly in love. I felt new. I was suddenly Vera 2.0. That relationship ended after 5 years. But this is to say, Di, I'm so happy for you. I hope you can continue to find the time to podcast. But if you have to pare down your podcasting time, please, 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 I'm here to beg that you not drop Housewives. Just one woman's plea. Seriously, do what's best for you. I just want you to know that I would, Vera, I'm going to edit a little bit, effing miss you.
Marnell, your one-liners and comebacks are hilarious. Have you noticed that so many podcasts, especially political podcasts, have co-hosts who are actual stand-up comedian? Girlfriend, you are better than any of those professional comedians. You said being an accountant was a great cover for nefarious activities because once you say accountant at a party during introductions, it was guaranteed no further inquiry. I've tucked that insight away in case I ever write a character who needs to cover her true profession. When I lived in DC, I learned through experience that if you worked for the CIA and someone asked you where you worked, they answer the State Department. It's kind of a running joke in DC. I dated one guy for a year before he confided in me. The secret remains safe with me. During the pandemic, you, and I'm going to swear, I'm not going to edit, you bitchin' babes continued to release episodes each week. Routine evaporated, but you never disappointed your loyal listeners. We're out here listening and loving you always. Cheers. And XOX Vera.
P.S. I love your lefty leanings. Do you listen to the Daily Beans or I, Mueller, She Wrote? Woman owned and run, and she, Allison Jill maybe, started her own podcasting network. So to show I'm no man hater, I also like Pod Save America. So Vera, I would love to say your lovely Italian last name. I'm not sure that I can say it right. Cassiopoli? I don't know. I'm sorry, sweetie. I probably butchered it.
That was such an amazing letter. You have no idea how much fan feedback means to us, whether it's positive or negative, because you're engaging with us. And, you know, that's part of our lifeblood. And to get an amazing letter like this and to have somebody who still listens to Biters, even though they don't watch Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead or The World Beyond, which that's so amazing. I thank you so much, Vera. Like, you can hear me getting teary, can't you?
And I hate to say it, but this is totally in line with Vera's advice to me. I just got a request to FaceTime with my beau. So I'm going to ask that we wrap it up so that I can do that.
All right, let's wrap it up then. So we will try and get to Crime of the Century for Real Alaska Housewives. And I am hoping to still podcast Black Summer Season 2, even though I did not enjoy it. So maybe we'll talk about that.
And I haven't started it yet, so...
Well, until then, just remember...
Take it one dead day at a time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week. With us. We love you. Thank you, Vera.
Bye.
Bye. I'm trying to get out of my computer. So, for him to want to FaceTime me from Fairbanks is a biggie.
Nice.
He looks okay. He doesn't look like he's feeling bad. But I know it's been really stressful for him to travel with 3 women, only one of whom he actually likes. So So I'm going to let you go, and let's
All
kind of
right.
tentatively talk about doing Crime of the Century on Monday.
All right.
All right. I love you. Thank you for wrapping it up.
I love you too. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Tell
Bye.
Rob hi.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.